Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to the last video. Sorry, the last video got cut off. My iPad actually ran out of space, so it stopped the video a little short on me. Real quick, I just wanted to show you guys, as I mentioned, the three patterns that are possible in the final step, which is orientating the edges on the final side. So once again, all three of these cubes are in the same state, in that their bottom corners are positioned and orientated and their edges are positioned. Okay, so you can see here that all of these edges on the bottom are in the correct position. Okay, and in this case it's created the three patterns that I was mentioning. Okay, where the most common one and the one that we're going to ultimately be using to solve the cube is the upper right hand arrow, the one you see on the left. The other two possibilities are the X, as you see here, and the H. So putting this one aside for a second, I just wanted to show you guys that if you do run across the X or the H, if you apply our last sequence, which again I laid it out properly in the last video, number 7, but this one I just want to use my methodology or terminology, which is open and close. So instead of right, positive, left, right clockwise, left counterclockwise, front, okay, all that type of jargon, we're going to use hopefully the more intuitive way, or the way that you guys will find it easier to remember, which is open, close, and then again we're rotating, flipping between our normal front face, which say could be blue, and then white. Okay, so on the X first, so they're all positioned again. So in this case it doesn't really matter, it doesn't matter at all actually, which face we want to use as our front face. So I'll just grab blue, and so we're going to do the same pattern. So this is a review of the formal sequence that I laid out in video 7, but now using my terminology. So once again we're going to open, so I always want to open on the front face, open on the white face. Okay, so once again, if you guys are more comfortable, so open would be white is the front face, and then it's both of the sides up or away from this face would be what I consider open. Okay, so again for me, I'm not going to do that, I'm just going to do my 2 down, 1 up, which is the same thing as what I just did. Okay, so open, okay, and then it's bottom clockwise, okay, close, bottom counterclockwise, open, bottom counterclockwise, close, bottom counterclockwise, open, double on the bottom, and then we simply close. And what we'll see in this case now is that our pattern is transformed from the X now to the upper right hand triangle, but the only thing though is that it's actually taken us one step back, which is now the edges are not positioned as well. So again, the corners doesn't affect the corners at all, but you can see that the edges have now been affected. Okay, so in this case, we have the one case here where one edge is positioned. So this is video 6. So going back, this means that our orange face, and this is the open, bottom clockwise, close, bottom double, open, bottom clockwise, and close. Okay, now what it's done in this case now is that's completing step 6, which is positioned the edges again. And now we're on to step 7, which is what we started this video for. But we can see now that we've transformed the X now into the upper right hand triangle. Now both of these cubes are in basically the same state. The pattern is different with respect to the faces. This upper right hand triangle or arrow, pardon me, is with respect to the green. This one's with respect to the red, but nonetheless we know the pattern in which to solve these. And so again, just to be thorough here, we'll do the same thing. So we have the H pattern. So we have all of our bottom edges positioned. Okay? So if you guys remember, I theorized this, that's saying that the H, you can use either of the open H sides. So it's either this is your front face or this is your front face. Okay, so again I'll just use blue, and it's the same pattern for orientating the edges, okay, which is the bigger one of open and close. So it's open, bottom clockwise, close, bottom counterclockwise, open, bottom counterclockwise, close, bottom counterclockwise, open, bottom double, and close. Okay, so once again it's transformed. Now in this case it's transformed it to the bottom being complete, which is I guess kind of the fourth option here. Ultimately we want to get to this option though when the bottom edges are done, and hence the cube is done. But what it's done in this case again is it's taken us one step back to step 6, where we have the bottom edges not positioned. Okay, in this case we have the one case again where one of the edges is positioned correctly. So we're going to take the orange face and perform the positioning sequence for the bottom edges, which is the simpler, the less move. So it's open, bottom clockwise, close, bottom double, open, bottom clockwise, and close. And what you'll see now, once again, is that it's transformed from the H. Okay, going one step back to step 6, we solve step 6, and it'll take us back now, and we've transformed it back into the upper right hand arrow. Okay, so now all of these cubes are the same pattern. Okay, and they all just have different front faces. Two of them, one's red, one's orange, and one is green. Okay, so again, it doesn't matter what face, it's just as long as you pick the correct one. In this case, all 3 of these would be the correct face to use. Okay, so now this is again the orientation sequence, which is the longer one for the bottom edges. Okay, so solving these 3 cubes. So open, bottom clockwise, close, bottom counterclockwise, open, bottom counterclockwise, close, bottom counterclockwise, open, double, and close. Okay, leave that there for a second. Actually, I'll complete this. So again, always what this will do is if you have the upper right hand arrow pattern correct with all of the edges positioned correctly, what it will be is you perform the sequence I just performed once, and then it'll always be the face to the right of that will have the one bottom edge positioned correctly, and then we just go back to solve step 6 one more time, and this will complete the cube. Okay, so step 6 is the positioning sequence, which is for the bottom edges, which is open, bottom clockwise, close, bottom double, open, bottom clockwise, and close, and you can now see that we have completed the cube. Okay, so now doing this to the other 3. Okay. Okay, completed. This is the sticky cube. And once again, from the X, H, and the upper right hand arrow, there are direct sequences. Okay. Again, this is just the minimum amount of sequences that have kind of the maximum effect. You just might have to do them again a few more times. Okay, but it's generally less to remember, and I find the sequences not really that hard to remember in general. So those are done. So that basically concludes the video series on this. The last thing that I wanted to mention is some of you guys might find it easier to go to Walmart or other places and buy kind of these novelty Rubik's Cubes that have the pictures on them. And these are fine. The only thing is, the sequence that I've told you guys, or the solution that I've told you guys, does nothing with regards to what's called absolute orientation of the centers. So in this case, you can see that all of these pictures, right, are correct. Okay. Now, in order to solve this, I have to be worrying about the absolute orientation of the middles. Okay. Now, the first 2 layers you can solve if you pay attention and just kind of think a little bit. You can use the same solution that we've discussed to solve the first 2 layers. However, the bottom layer, though, the solutions don't really work. Or accidentally they could work. It's like, hey, you do it and it works, but that's a pretty slim chance. There are other solutions out there that worry about absolute orientation. Okay, so just what I wanted to say is it's actually easier to learn how to solve the Rubik's Cube with regards to the solid colors, because we don't care about the absolute orientation of this one. Doesn't matter which way we turn this middle one, it's always going to be blue. Okay, so just if you buy these, just don't get frustrated if you solve it and then the middles are not correct. Okay, so this would be solved correctly according to our solution, regardless of how the middles of each side, okay, are actually twisted. They obviously have to be the right color, but they could be twisted sideways. Okay, thanks a lot.